Mr. Simon, to you first. The question many are asking, the basis of that statement by President Sarkozy denouncing the burqa as a symbol of subservience, is it based on the Western understanding of the burqa, that it's a symbol of radicalism?
No, I think it's not a Western attitude. It's a really French attitude, behavior. Because in France, there is a specificity that is not in other Western countries. In France, there has been about 100 years ago a clear separation of the state and the religion, which is not the same in other Western countries. In the United States, for example, you can have on the banknotes, "In God we trust." That would not be possible in France, not at all. Because in France, the state has to protect every religion, but also protect many people who consider themselves as non-religious.
Right.
So that's why Nicolas Sarkozy said this statement against the burqa. Because in France, the burqa is seen as something against women, against the right of women.
Right. Many, Sadia, would say that the argument does hold water, that an overt display of religious symbols runs the fear of ghettoization or even the possibility of assimilation becomes that much lesser, and therefore in the long run it could be dangerous, and therefore the argument is fair.
I wouldn't really agree with you. I think the statement is rather unfortunate and a bit extreme. I think clearly the decision to wear a burqa or not to wear a burqa should lie with the woman. I mean, I'm completely opposed to, even if it's the Taliban who are forcing it. I think that is a form of oppression. And I think denying women a right to wear what they want, even if it is a hijab or a burqa, is also a form of oppression.
Right, but if you were to see it in the context of France being against an overt display of religious symbols, even when it came to the turban, the kirpan, the crucifixes, what have you, would that be acceptable?
It would be, it is very much in the same line, banning turbans and banning religious symbols. And, interestingly, even Turkey has so there are Muslim countries who also done this, and there are, but I still think that where a country which claims to be secular or democratic, I think it does infringe on a basic human right of women to dress how she wants to.
Right, we'll be touching upon that Turkey experiment particularly, and what's happening in Turkey right now, and really how have people reacted since the imposition, if one may say so, of forcible secularism in Turkey in 1929. But Mr. Owaisi, if I can come to you, put that same question to you. The argument in France has been that our constitution clearly separates the state from the religion, and that religion cannot impinge upon the running of the state, and therefore they believe that an overt display of religious identity will only end up creating problems for assimilating such people into the French society.
See, what Mr. Sarkozy has said is his gross ignorance of Islam. What would the French journalists say of hundreds of years of colonization of Tunisia and Algeria? Was that a French thing to destroy everything? What about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Why doesn't Sarkozy talks about the Christian nuns? Why doesn't Sarkozy talks about the skull cap worn by the Jews? Is it French? Is it the French culture? I mean, this is here
Christian nuns are not
towards
oppressed.
Islam.
They wear habits.
Please respond to that, Mr. Simon.
Yeah, you are saying that the French are destroying everything. But I think what Sarkozy is doing by these statements, and perhaps a law which will finally perhaps appear in the parliament, will be voted in the parliament, it's not to destroy something, it's to protect something, which is the right of women. You are saying, for example, that is a right of women to wear or not to wear the burqa. And even your text message that you are giving to your audience is saying, do they have the right to wear burqa or not? But do they have the right? Big question I'm asking you.
That's been the argument, Sadia. The reason why what Simon is saying could possibly find resonance. Sadia, just a quick comment from a blog. A woman writing in from an Islamic country, as she says, who now lives in the United Kingdom. She says, hailing Sarkozy, that more than 90 years after the niqab is still with us and has migrated to the West. It's a sad indictment of how far the issue of Muslim women's rights has regressed. Would you agree with something like that?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what to make of blogs and these kind of expressions. But I would repeat that I think it is, very much, in the tradition of human rights, and to any women's rights, that they should not be imposed, They should clearly be allowed to wear what they want.